Rick Ross stood on stage, hyping the crowd, and let a full Drake verse play in front of thousands, footage that's now blowing up online. Drake saw it. Drake didn't stay silent. What happened next backstage has fans going wild. Two rap heavyweights, once collaborators, now locked in a heated feud that's been verbal, physical, and even explosive enough to spark a brawl in Vancouver. And this latest moment might just take it to a whole new level. Here's the story of how one concert clip reignited a battle the internet can't stop dissecting. On March 6, 2026, a clip of Rick Ross performing live began circulating across social media. In the video, Ross pauses during a live performance to address the audience before letting one of their best-known records take over the room. "We gon' let the numpsa Drake sing a little," he says, stepping aside as the chorus of Aston Martin music begins to play. Now, the reason this matters is context. These two have been feuding. They have not been on speaking terms. They released diss tracks aimed at each other. There was an actual fight involving Ross and alleged Drake affiliates at a music festival. So when Rick Ross stands on a stage in front of a crowd and introduces Drake's part on one of his songs, that is not a simple DJ transition. That is a statement, and the internet treated it as one. The moment, lighthearted on its surface, quickly found its way onto social media. When the clip was reposted online with the caption, "Rick Ross's biggest song has his enemy on it," Drake appeared to respond with a series of crying, laughing emojis in the comments. That detail is what elevated the clip from a concert moment to a full-blown viral situation. Drake did not ignore it. He did not stay silent. He saw the post, read the caption, and chose to react with laughter. Multiple accounts on X, formerly Twitter, reposted the footage with commentary. One tweet by Kirko read, "Drake reacts to Rick Ross playing his part on Aston Martin music. After telling the crowd, we gonna let Drake sing a little." Another account, Fearbuck, posted a similar caption noting that Ross did not skip Drake's verse. Both posts included the crying, laughing emojis Drake had left under the video. Instead of skipping the part entirely, Ross let the track play and joked with the audience. "We gonna let Drake sing a little," he told the crowd as the verse began. That is the part people latched onto, the fact that Ross did not cut Drake out of the song. He did not mute it. He acknowledged Drake's contribution in front of the crowd, and then stepped aside. Some fans saw this as a subtle olive branch. Others saw it as Ross being forced to let Drake's vocals ride, because the song does not work without them. Apparently, the 6ix God left a slew of crying, laughing emojis under this IG post, which had the caption, "Rick Ross's biggest song has his enemy on it." Drake's reaction seemed to lean into the irony of the situation. A rapper performing one of his biggest records, and his so-called enemy is all over it. Of course, this isn't the first time Rick Ross played a Drake collab post-beef, a phenomenon that will probably continue to happen in both artists' cases. Ross has a lot of collabs with the OVO MC, including some of his biggest tracks ever, so we doubt he will ever escape the shadow of this feud. And that brings us to the core of this whole thing. The reason this one concert clip went viral is not just about a song being performed. It is about the weight of what these two rappers used to be to each other versus what they are now. And the gap between those two things is what makes every public interaction between them feel like a landmine. Ross and Drake collaborated on several high-profile songs throughout the 2010s, making their partnership one of the more recognizable pairings in mainstream hip-hop during that period. Because those records remain popular, moments like this one continue to blur the line between past collaboration and current friction. So how did these two get from making classics together to a place where a concert clip turns into a headline? That story goes back further than most people think. To understand the weight of what is happening now, you have to understand what Drake and Rick Ross once were to each other. These were not occasional collaborators. These were two artists who built a catalog together over the course of a decade that most rap duos would envy. Rick Ross and Drake are two of the most successful and influential rappers in the game, with dozens of awards, chart-topping albums, and loyal fan bases. They have also been frequent collaborators since 2010, when they first teamed up on the smooth and luxurious Aston Martin music from Ross's fourth album, Teflon Don. Since then, they have delivered some of the most memorable and diverse songs in hip-hop, ranging from the hard-hitting and motivational Lord Knows, from Drake's Grammy-winning Take Care, to the introspective and reflective Gold Roses from Ross's Port of Miami. Aston Martin Music is the fourth single from Rick Ross's fourth studio album, Teflon Don. The song was released as a single on October 5, 2010. The song features vocals from Canadian rapper Drake and R&B singer Chrisette Michele. That track set the tone for what became a long creative partnership. From there, the collaborations kept stacking. Rick Ross has collaborated with Drake in Lord Knows, Aston Martin Music, I'm on One, Stay Schemin', Pop That, Made Men, Free Spirit, Diced Pineapples, and Us. The list is long, and some of those records were not just album cuts, they were moments. Drake stole the show on Rick Ross's Stay Schemin', which found the sixth god throwing a series of vicious haymakers at Common to claim victory in their bubbling feud. That song became one of the most talked about records of 2012. The track received widespread acclaim from music critics, who praised its atmospheric production, collaborative synergy, and lyrical intensity. Complex ranked the track third on their list of the 50 best songs of 2012. Ross himself pointed to Stay Schemin' as a personal highlight. When he joined a live stream with Aiden Ross at the top of 2024, Rick Ross tipped his imaginary cap to Stay Schemin' as his favorite collaboration he's ever done with Drake. "I'ma say Stay Schemin'," he said. "He came out to us. He came out in the streets. He came to us when he put that record together. It was one of those vibes. We had the beat. He walked right in on it as we was putting it together. And he didn't wait 1 second, so that was most definitely magical." And in 2023, just 1 year before the beef erupted, Ross claimed on Drink Champs that he and Drake were real close, and claimed they're in the 2 percentile when it comes to writers and creators. The 2 percentile is when you walk into the room, you hear something, a beat or a production that you actually love and can actually create it, write it, and execute it right then. "I can't say I've done that with many artists." Ross also spoke about Drake's abilities in a separate interview. "I just think naturally and honestly we fans of each other," he said. "I remember the first time a chick ever told me about this artist, Drake. I said, well, play him. When I heard him, I heard his tone, I heard his melodies. He went from rapping to singing. I was like, that's different." He praised the Toronto rapper for his versatility. "When he switched from those melodies to them rhymes, nobody else can do that," says Ross. Rick Ross and Drake have teamed up for a handful of anthems over the years, including Rosé's 3 top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, Lemon Pepper Freestyle, Money in the Grave, and DJ Khaled's I'm on One. So when you see that concert clip of Ross performing Aston Martin music and introducing Drake's verse to the crowd, that is not just a song being played. That is a piece of a relationship that produced over a dozen records across more than a decade. And the reason people are paying attention is because that relationship fell apart in a matter of weeks. The fallout between Drake and Rick Ross did not happen in isolation. It was part of a larger chain reaction that consumed the entire rap industry in 2024. The tension between the two artists became public during the larger chain of rap disputes that unfolded in 2024. Around that time, Kendrick Lamar's verse on Future and Metro Boomin's Like That set off a series of responses across the genre. With a few lines and a guest verse on Future and Metro Boomin's chart-topping hit Like That, Kendrick Lamar ignited his long-simmering Cold War with Drake into what's become the widest-reaching rap beef in years. Since then, it's all gotten incredibly messy, starting with J. Cole recording an entire diss track about his erstwhile friend Lamar, and then deciding to retract it and apologize, a fairly unprecedented move in hip-hop. Drake's response came in the form of Push-Ups, a diss track that targeted multiple people. Drake appeared to respond to Kendrick Lamar and a myriad of other rap peers, with a diss track of his own that's tentatively titled Push-Ups. It wasn't only Kendrick Lamar that Drake appeared to take aim at. Future, Metro Boomin, The Weeknd, Rick Ross, and more were supposedly in the Six Gods' crosshairs. On the track, the bars aimed at Ross were direct. Drake's frequent collaborator Rick Ross was also caught in the line of fire, as the former friends turned foes. On Push-Ups, the Six God snipes at Rosé about his corrections officer past, and how he's hooked the MMG honcho up with some of the biggest hits of his career. Ross did not wait long to respond. Drake's Push-Ups leaked last weekend, sparking some initial confusion about whether the song was real or AI, and officially hit streaming services. Incredibly, within 2 hours or so of the leak, Rick Ross struck back with a brutal Drake diss, Champagne Moments, that he claimed to have recorded that very day. Champagne Moments is a diss track by American rapper Rick Ross, aimed at Canadian rapper Drake. It is a response to Push-Ups, hours after the song was leaked. Champagne Moments was released on April 13, 2024, and was released onto streaming platforms 2 days later. The content of Champagne Moments went personal. The back and forth was initiated by the latter's April 15th Champagne Moments diss track, where Ross alleged the Canadian icon got a nose job and a BBL, called him a white boy, and more. In Champagne Moments, Ross refers to Drake as white boy, which speaks to Drake's biracial ethnicity while addressing Drake's claims on Push-Ups. The social media war that followed was relentless. It's one thing to battle Ross in the booth, it's another for the war to spill onto social media. Rosé is one of rap's funniest comics on socials, and he has been relentless in dissing Drake online. Various clips show Rosé trolling Drake by wearing his merch at a performance, referring to him as BBL Drizzy, and bringing up ghostwriting claims. Rick Ross escalated his feud with Drake by posting alleged before and after nosejob photos on social media, taunting Drake with captions like BBL Drizzy. Drake responded humorously by sharing a text conversation with his mom, joking about cosmetic procedures. Drake fired back in his DMs and then made the exchange public. The God's Plan creator responded swiftly in Ross's DMs, screenshotted their exchange, and posted it to his own story. "Imagine you having $88 million to spend on a crib," Drake told his frequent collaborator. "Your shits be steals like you got them from a police auction. Your Star Island house on a sliver of cheesecake. Your lot, 4,000 square feet. My crib, 4,000 square feet. Leonard. And you put a wrap on your timeshare jet, that shit coming off when it's the other people's turn to fly." He then called Ross a Brett Barish worker, referring to the owner of Luc Belaire, one of the beverages Ross promotes frequently. The beef had gone from diss tracks to DMs to social media posts to full-on public trolling. And it was about to get physical. What happened in Vancouver in the summer of 2024 took the Drake and Rick Ross situation to a level nobody expected. Rick Ross faced the wrath of Drake's home country when he was attacked after playing Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us, following his Canadian concert. In a video released by TMZ, a group of about 15 men gathered around Ross. The fight broke out at Vancouver's Ignite Music Festival in June, and was seemingly sparked by Rick Ross playing Kendrick Lamar's Drake diss song Not Like Us as he finished performing. "You got a problem?" an unknown individual is heard saying in subsequently shared footage, showing Ross near but not on the stage. Meanwhile, as the crowd compresses, Kendrick's Not Like Us is heard playing loudly in the background. A demand for the song to be turned off is also heard, as are shouts of, "This is our city." At one point, Ross appears to take a hit to the face from an unknown person. From there, multiple people get involved before the crowd starts to scatter. Things temporarily stall out as the scattering continues, though a few moments later, the incident is set back in motion with more punches. In the clips that are currently trending, you can see a shirtless Rick Ross get into a verbal exchange with a man before a punch is thrown. The real gag is, while all of that was going down, Kendrick Lamar's viral anthem Not Like Us was playing in the background. Footage of the backstage altercation showed Rose and his entourage arguing with another group, before one of the men sucker punched the rapper in the face, igniting an all-out brawl. Ross was later seen slipping out of the parking lot to safety, while his associates were outnumbered and beaten up, with one left lying unconscious on the floor. Drake's response to this incident was pointed. Adding insult to injury, Drake liked a video of the fight posted to Instagram. "Y'all already know this Champagne Poppy Town," the poster wrote on top of the video, tagging Drake. Even though Drake was not there for the beatdown, he seems to like what he sees from his potential OVO gang. A news account on social media by the name of 6exact TV reshared the video on Instagram, and the boy liked the post. The caption reads, "Rich Forever met the BC Demons at his show tonight. He shouldn't have played Kendrick Lamar hit record." Ross addressed the brawl in the aftermath, but he downplayed it. Ross reportedly told TMZ that no one from his team suffered any serious injuries from the attack, and added, "Vancouver is a beautiful city, and he can't wait to go back." He echoed that statement in an Instagram story pictured in front of his private jet. "Vancouver, it was fun till next time," Ross wrote. Later, when Ross was asked about it on Young Miami's show, he denied getting hit. The MMG mogul was grilled about the viral scuffle on Young Miami's Caresha Please show, where the City Girls star asked about his claim that he didn't actually get punched, despite video footage showing otherwise. Rose doubled down on his denial, replying, "You saw a video of what?" Like I said, Rose felt like a drink was thrown. He then offered an explanation for why his side came out worse. Ross claimed that the brawl would have had a different outcome with the right friends by his side. "All my homies that traveled with me, them N-gas couldn't come in because of their felonies," he said. The Vancouver incident represented the peak of the hostility between these two camps. It was no longer diss tracks and social media posts. It was punches. It was people on the ground. It was a rapper fleeing a parking lot while his entourage got attacked. And through it all, Drake was liking Instagram posts from his phone. That is the backdrop against which the recent Aston Martin music concert clip exists. When Ross stood on that stage and said he was going to let Drake sing, he was doing it with the full weight of everything that had happened in Vancouver, everything that happened online, and everything that happened in the studio. And that is why the clip went viral. And the question on everyone's mind after that viral concert footage is, where do Drake and Rick Ross actually stand? The answer, depending on who you ask, is complicated. Ross has suggested that the disagreement may not be as severe as it appears from the outside. Speaking last year with Bootleg Kev, he downplayed the depth of the conflict. "Real Nick is stay real," he said. "Was it something really deep? Nah." He also hinted that reconciliation might not be impossible. "You never know," Ross added with a laugh. "Send me a white Bel Air and I'll take a picture with you." Rick Ross and Drake have remained at odds since exchanging jabs on a series of diss tracks. But Rose is open to ending the beef with his stay scheming collaborator. The Biggest Boss joined Bootleg Kev for an interview, during which they discussed the Kendrick Lamar and Drake battle, something Ross saw as necessary for the rap game. At the same time, Ross made it clear he was not the one who started it. He mentioned my name, and that's a no-no, he said. Don't do that, especially when it ain't about no real ST. But when you do that, okay then, this is how we gonna play. I can wake up every day and say BBL Drizzy or some old ST, while I'm smoking a joint, listening to the waterfalls and all that ST, looking at the birds fly off. And then there is the French Montana angle. French Montana has been vocal about his perspective on the feud, clarifying his position multiple times. He revealed that part of the tension originated from a 2024 incident with Ross over the track Splash Brothers. Allegedly, Drake sent French a cease and desist for including a verse from him on the track, which ultimately came out featuring Ross and Lil Wayne, but not Aubrey Graham. Despite these complications, French Montana made it clear that he maintains good relationships with both artists. His recent comments hint that reconciliation between Drake and Rick Ross is possible. "Brothers always fight and make up, man," he said, reinforcing that the rap feud is far from permanent. At a recent club performance, Ross delivered an electrifying rendition of his classic track Aston Martin Music, with French Montana in attendance. That moment was interpreted by some as a signal that people close to both parties were actively trying to bridge the gap. But the viral footage from this week tells a different story, or at least a more ambiguous one. The uneasy relationship between Drake and Rick Ross continues to play out in public, this time during a live performance of one of their biggest collaborations. Despite their long list of collaborations over the years, Drake and Ross have been at odds since 2024, when tensions erupted amid the broader feud sparked by Kendrick Lamar's diss track Like That. Given Rose and Drake's extensive musical history, including hits like Aston Martin Music, Lord Knows, and Stay Schemin', their ongoing tension has made moments like Ross performing their songs on stage particularly notable for fans. Still, Ross has suggested the situation might not be as serious as it appears. In a previous interview with Bootleg Kev, the Miami rapper downplayed the feud, saying the issues between them weren't all that concerning. "Real men won't stay real," Ross said at the time. Was it something really deep? That is the question, and it is the one neither Drake nor Ross has fully answered. On one hand, you have Ross performing Drake's verses live and acknowledging his name in front of crowds. On the other hand, Drake is in the comments laughing at posts that call him Ross's enemy. Those two things can exist at the same time, and that tension between the nostalgia of what they built together and the reality of what happened between them is exactly what keeps this beef in the headlines. The two rappers once built a long list of collaborations together, but their dynamic changed during the wave of rap feuds that dominated much of 2024. Even so, their shared catalog continues to appear in public moments, sometimes drawing attention back to the unresolved tension between them. The music they made together is too big to erase. Aston Martin Music is not going anywhere. Stay Schemin' is not going anywhere. Lord Knows is not going anywhere. Money in the Grave is not going anywhere. And as long as those songs exist and get played in clubs, at concerts, on playlists, then Drake and Ross are going to keep being linked, whether they want to be or not. This isn't the first time Rick Ross played a Drake collab post-beef, a phenomenon that will probably continue to happen in both artists' cases. Ross has a lot of collabs with the OVO MC, including some of his biggest tracks ever, so we doubt he will ever escape the shadow of this feud, unless they let bygones be bygones. And that is the thing about rap beef between former collaborators. It is not like a feud between two people who never liked each other. This is a feud between two people who respected each other, who worked together, who praised each other publicly for over a decade. Ross called Drake part of the 2 percentile. Drake put Ross on some of his biggest records. They had conversations about doing a joint album, and now they are in a place where a concert clip of one of their old songs becomes a viral moment because nobody knows whether it is a peace offering or a flex. For now, neither one has closed the door completely. Ross has said you never know. French Montana has said brothers fight and make up. Drake has not said much at all, just laughing emojis under Instagram posts. But the footage is out there, the reactions are out there, and as long as these two keep occupying the same space in hip-hop history, every concert clip, every social media interaction, and every public comment is going to get analyzed, screenshotted, and turned into a headline. That is the reality of being Drake and Rick Ross in 2026. The music they made together will not let people forget what they once were. And the beef they started will not let people ignore what they have become. Whether this ends in reconciliation or more diss tracks, one thing is clear: the internet is watching, and it is not looking away anytime soon.